Hi there. Welcome to an episode of Without with Reno. So I'm standing here at the top of Capulin Volcano within Capulin Volcano National Monument in northeastern New Mexico. Now, right behind me is the crater of the volcano that we can see here, but even much further beyond and into the distance, we can see a lot of these geological features. And actually, those are also from volcanic activity as well. So sit tight and I'll be happy to tell you about this full history of this region. There is a beautiful world out there, and as long as I can still breathe, I am going to explore all that I can. This is my YouTube series. Today I am headed to the high plains of New Mexico, to a little place called Capulin. Hi there. So I'm up here in the northeastern corner of New Mexico, a little bit westward of Clayton, New Mexico. And I came here to show you something that's a rich geological history of this region. Right around me, we just entered the 8,000 square foot of the Raton-Clayton Volcanic Field. And I came here because it's a very interesting example of our rich geological history in this country, but it's also a bit unusual because out here we have volcanic activity. And normally when we think of volcanic activity, we think of plate tectonics and the shifting of the continents. Think of the Ring of Fire, or also with hotspots, such as those down in Hawaii. But out here, we're far from any large continental plate. And I think it's a really good example for us to look at how does this happen, and looking at some prime examples of the rich volcanic and geological history that existed here millions of years ago. Here we are at the Raton-Clayton Volcanic Field. Well, actually, here's a detailed geological map of the Raton-Clayton Volcanic Field. This image shows us the full spread of this 7,500 square mile wonder. Now, the different colors represent the varying ages of the volcanic features. The age of this field extends as far back as 9 million years ago, with the most recent activity taking place about 40,000 years ago. Today, we are headed a little north of the red mass in the center, right about here. The red mass is Sierra Grande, the largest volcano in the field, and Capulin Volcano is just a little north of that. If you are like me, you might be thinking, wait a minute, we are in the middle of the US. Since when were there this many volcanoes and whatnot this far into the country? Sort of as I mentioned earlier when we first entered the volcanic field, it's kind of the oddity of this location. In this area, the volcanic field is formed as a result of the Jemez lineament in conjunction with the Rio Grande Rift. And if you're unfamiliar with the Rio Grande Rift, this rift is one of 6 in the world. And it's great that we can access it here in the United States. And it spans the entire state of New Mexico, beginning up near Leadville, Colorado, down and declining down into Chihuahua, Mexico. But the Rio Grande Rift is the result of the hard surface crust of the Earth kind of thinning out over time. And as a result, as the crust thins out, it allows for kind of hot rock that's bubbling up to the surface to escape through magma and different volcanic activity. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we are located in the center of the North American tectonic plate. While we normally think of volcanoes happening at the edge of these plates when they shift and move about, we have to remember that the entire crust is shifting and moving about with plenty of action taking place throughout the surface. In the center of this image, you can see the location of the Rio Grande Rift in relation to the other major non-ocean rifts of the world. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, so please stay with me. The volcanic fields in New Mexico are formed because of the Rio Grande Rift. The rift is right where the crust is thinned out so much that hot rock is escaping upwards to the surface. Again, if you were like me, you might be thinking, wait a minute, how exactly does this all work? Now, the Rio Grande Rift is not formed because of the Rio Grande River cutting out the river valley, but it's actually formed through a crust thinning out process. Magma from the mantle is churning and pushing upwards. The magma pulls the crust outward, thus thinning it out. Over time, magma begins to creep out and escapes through the weakened crust and comes out to the surface. This, of course, is taking place over millions of years. Now, enough with the diagrams and graphics. Let me show you what you've all came here to see. It's a beautiful day, actually. If you can, once we get to the top, I can hopefully show you guys the full volcanic field here. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I haven't seen quite anything like this in my time in the Southwest. Just take a look at this. See all of those natural landforms that kind of make up the volcanic field, kind of covered by this very lush grassland. It's quite nice, actually. And the cloud cover kind of makes it very interesting to kind of see what's the scale of these landforms. And you're not quite sure, without the clouds, kind of like how big these landforms actually are, or really how far anything is. But with a lot of the scale of these clouds and the shadows that they make, it really helps kind of define the really size of these shapes. Now, we're quickly ascending here. After a spiraling drive to the top, here we are, to the very top of Capulin Volcano National Monument. Now up here, there's a little area to kind of park your vehicle, and you can walk around on a paved path going all the way around the rim of the volcano. And there's also a little path that also kind of spirals down into the center of the crater as well, which we'll kind of see towards the end of the video. So right behind me, you'll see the Sierra Grande volcano. If you remember earlier in the segment, we were actually down at the base on the eastern edge. We're now looking south at its northern edge, and we're getting this great view from the top of the Capulin volcano. So we're nearly to the top of the edge of the volcano, but I think here is a really great view to see kind of like a really wide range of the volcanic field here. And here we can kind of see kind of the different shapes and landforms that take place of the volcanic activity over the past 9 million years. While we stand here on a cinder cone volcano, we have different types of, we have an andesite shield here at Sierra Grande, but we also have other rings and tuffs and other formations. As you can see, you can get fairly close to the volcanic rocks that are throughout the volcano. At this proximity, you can really see how the ecosystem here transformed a once hot and eruptive area. Pretty neat, huh? So Capulin is a fairly accessible national monument here, if you're able to find your way out here. It's not necessarily around any major city, and typically I understand that most people stop here on their way to somewhere else. That there is this connection between Texas, Denver, and where the states of New Mexico, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Texas meet. And there's a highway here that goes from Raton, New Mexico, all the way to Clayton and into Dalhart, Texas, on your way to Amarillo. And out here is a wonderful national monument, rich in a geological history, but also in the beauty and sights here that one can experience. Now, one of the things I love thinking about when I visit any monument or any historic place is kind of history and context. Now, we're not too far off from the Santa Fe Trail, which connected Missouri to Santa Fe, New Mexico here. And I'll go ahead and turn so you can see it right behind me. But right behind me, you can actually travel a little bit parts of the Santa Fe Trail. And it's actually surprising for me when I did that drive to think about the settlers and the pioneers that were coming out west, and to think of what they saw when they saw sites like this with very rich geological diversity and really these towering mountains that you'll encounter here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the other way, and behind me you might be able to see the Sangre de Cristo Mountains as part of the Rocky Mountains. And as the elevation gets higher here, the landscape definitely changes from the Great Plains up to this higher elevation into New Mexico. Now, if you do plan on visiting Capulin National Monument, I do have to say it is a very easily walkable and accessible pathway we have here. I'm actually looking across to the other side of the rim, and I see someone pushing a stroller up the side of the mountain. But I feel like that would be a little bit of a challenge coming down here on the side that I'm at. But it's certainly not impossible. You know, I'm wearing my hiking boots right now, expecting like a full-fledged off the beaten path toward a trail, but no, we're on a fully paved path here, which makes it very easy, very convenient, and kind of releases the stress in terms of looking at your footing and taking more time to actually look at the scenery that is taking place around you. So out here at Capulin, we get to experience this the full breadth of this transformation that's taking place here. As we kind of walk through just now with the Magma Rocks, we can kind of be part of this, you know, see the very gritty nature of volcanic activity, but also behind me as we walked around and seen through the different depictions of the volcanic plain, life is all around us. There's this ecosystem that's been built here, and it's great to think that it's to be able to come out here and witness all of that. So I really encourage anyone to come out here and really take their time to kind of walk around and really take in this amazing place, and feel a little bit of a closer connection to this location. So right now we're standing here in the center of the crater of the volcano. We're looking at what's left of the main vent that helped form this entire cinder cone volcano. Now, as the eruption occurred and as magma spewed out and threw rocks out and helped shape the initial formation of the volcano, vents opened up at the sides, and where magma continued to spew out and to help add to the shape of the volcano over time. Now, you can see around us, this vent has been long plugged many years ago, when Capulin was first started forming about 60,000 years ago. And put that into context of the greater course of the volcanic plain, where a lot of the volcanic activity was also taking place, which even recently is 45,000 years ago. Now, something I do love discussing whenever I visit these places is kind of the feeling that I get when I travel out at these lesser known monuments in the United States. I think it's pretty neat as someone who's part of the United States and also someone who is of Native American heritage to come to these sites and feel like I'm part of something greater and part of this like larger course of human history. Now, I talk about a lot of these histories of these places, you know, whether it's localized in terms of the past couple centuries or generations, but even spanning millions of years. And as humans, we represent this tiny portion to this larger story that's taking place here. And I love walking around here and feeling like I'm part of this greater narrative. And this greater narrative that's taking place is captured here. And although that the land has changed over the many years, there's so many stories that have taken place here, and so many people have walked this land and have seen what I've seen here today, and have seen this volcanic plain, have heard the wind that I hear today, have seen the little bugs that walk across the field here. And I think that's absolutely amazing, and that's why I encourage everyone to go out and visit a little bit of these lesser known places that you may not normally encounter on a road trip or travel out to the American West. I definitely think it's fully worth it, and it definitely paints a picture of, you know, where we stand in history. And I definitely know in my early education through grade school up until high school, you know, history is always this very fast. It's a very fast race to cover as much as you can, but there's so much history and stories and just feeling and emotion in these tiny pockets that we kind of glaze over time. So I definitely recommend taking the time to walk around in these places, learn the history, and put yourself in the shoes of what it would have been like here 9 million years ago, or even 60,000 years ago, roaming here with the large bison that would have been here, or even about 100 years ago in understanding the settlers that were first in this region. And I think that's super amazing to think about, and that's what brings me out here to these places. Thank you for watching this episode as I visited Capulin Volcanic National Monument. Now, if you haven't, please like this video, and if you can, subscribe as well. I'll definitely be putting out more content, and I definitely appreciate your feedback out there. I enjoy visiting these places, and I enjoy telling you about these places too. And I hope one day you also get to come out to these places and experience what I've experienced here today. So again, thank you.